So what is Twitter? So Twitter is a social media app, which means that it sort of connects you to other people in the same way that some social media apps that you're familiar with do. So like it's a social media app in the way that Facebook or Instagram or any of those are also social media apps. So they're happening sort of in real time. You're connecting to other people. Twitter's interesting in that a lot of people turn to it for news. A lot of people turn to it to look at, what celebrities are thinking, to see what the kind of political conversation is, because you're getting lots of different voices from lots of different places and they're conversing with each other. One of the things about Twitter that's unique too is that you're limited to, I think now it's 480 characters in what's called a tweet. So a tweet is sort of like your status update on Facebook, but on Twitter, it's limited to this 480 characters. So it's meant to be short and it's meant to like sort of prompt interactions with other people. Okay, so I'm going to show you just a little bit of what that looks like before I show you how to sign up. You're going to see Twitter up in the top left-hand corner of my screen. It's this little bird. So the bird symbolizes Twitter. And one of the things that I said that I was interested in when I set up this account was national parks, okay? So each of these things that is coming from a different place, this is called a tweet, all right? So this is a tweet from the US Department of the Interior. This here is a tweet from Earth Curated. Okay, so you'll see in here, what we have is like, is just what they're posting, okay? Each one of these is its own tweet from a different source. And it's also giving me options of people to follow. So if I follow someone, that means whenever they tweet something, it'll come up on my main screen like this. So let's say we want to follow, let's see, CNN. Let's say we want to follow CNN because we want to stay updated from news from CNN. So we just hit follow on there. And once we do that, if we reload our feed, we should start seeing tweets from CNN too. See, there we go. So like I said, people use this very much for all, really for all sorts of things. Whatever you're into, there is a community that is doing what you're interested in. So you can customize this very specifically to the things that you want to see. Okay. So we're probably going to go through 2 weeks of this because Twitter is a little bit complicated. Not complicated, but it's like it has multiple steps. There's a lot you can do with it. So what I'm going to show you today is how to sign up for your own Twitter account. Okay. And one thing to note when you're looking at this too is people use Twitter in lots of different ways. So you see CNN is, because it's a news organization, it's got lots and lots of tweets. It's tweeting the news all the time. It's making a lot of what you might call content, like it's lots and lots of tweets. But you as a person, you can just look at tweets. You don't ever have to retweet or tweet anything yourself, or you can retweet things. So if you wanted other people to see, this particular story on CNN, you can retweet that. But you yourself don't have to write on there all the time if you don't want to. Most of what I do on Twitter is reading other people's tweets and then sometimes retweeting things, but I can't remember the last time that I actually wrote a tweet myself. So there's lots of different ways to use this. You don't have to be the one creating all the tweets. So you can do this however you feel like doing it. You can even just not ever retweet anything and just go through and scroll and look at things. So however you're comfortable is totally fine. First, I'm just going to show you where it is in the App Store. So again, I'm on my phone, which is a Galaxy. So if you have an iPhone, it's going to be a little bit different, but it's going to be in your App Store as opposed to my Play Store. But the place where you get apps, just go there. All right, so we're in the Play Store. We're going to look up Twitter, and it pops up there because I just did this. All right, so what you're going to see is the little Twitter bird. All right, and what it'll say for you is download or install. And mine just says open because I've already done that. But I just want to show you what happens when you install it. Okay, so let's say we hit install because we wanted it. So what's going to happen, and I'll show you the pictures of this in process, is that you're going to get a screen like this that's asking you to sign up. And it's sort of advertising itself by see what's happening in the world right now. So you can do this one of two ways. You can either create an account just sort of from scratch like you would with other apps, or you can connect it to your Gmail address if you have, or your Google account if you have one. Either way is fine. If you want to do it as a freestanding thing as opposed to with your Google account, that's fine. I'm going to show you how to do it freestanding, but it's very, very similar to if you were just signing up with your Google account. There's maybe like one or two more steps, okay? So let's just say you want to go to create account, okay? So the first thing that you should see is this screen. So on this screen, they're asking you for your name, your phone number, email address, and your date of birth. All right. So you can just put your first name. You can put, I mean, this is just to have sort of a marker for you. The phone number or email address is where they're going to send a confirmation code. So make sure that that is your phone number or email address and that you have access to it. So you can put the confirmation code in just to say, that this is you. They ask for your date of birth. I think that that's generally either to just target certain information to you and also to just prove that you're old enough to have a Twitter account. So you're going to fill that out. All right. Once you've done that, it's going to ask you this. It's going to say, customize your experience and track where you see Twitter content across the web. This is up to you. Basically, what this means, as far as I can tell, is that if you log into Twitter on a different device, so if you're on a computer as opposed to your phone, that you will still be sort of offered the same kind of content that you would see on your phone. So it's basically like sort of keeping track of your preferences from one device to the next. If you're not cool with that, that's okay. You can uncheck it. If you are, just keep it checked and move forward, okay? But it does say, that it's not going to store this with your identifying information, okay? So you got that. From that screen, it will move on to create your account. So these little blacked out things are just where I put my own information. But so it'll have your information in here and you'll hit that button that says sign up. You're going to create your password and then you'll get that confirmation message to your email address or to your phone. So you'll enter that confirmation and that'll confirm your account. Then this is when it gets fun. It'll ask you to upload a profile picture if you want to at this point. You might not want to at this point. You might just want to look around before you start committing to putting pictures up of yourself or however you want to be identified. That's fine too. You can go down here to where it says skip for now if you want, if you don't want to do that yet. But if you do, you just click on it and upload a picture that you have like in your gallery, okay? Some cute picture of you. All right, and once you do that, whether you skip it or you add your picture, it's going to start asking you questions about what you want to see on Twitter. Like, why are you interested in Twitter? What are your interests? And this is just in this screenshot, you just see sort of the top of the list. There's a bunch of them, okay? But you could say food, you could say news, you could say entertainment, outdoors, fashion, beauty, whatever. You can specify it to your taste. So the things that come up for you to see are specifically kind of tailored to you, okay? So it'll ask you to click on 3 of those. And again, it's tailoring this to your interests. So let's say I went in here and I did arts and culture, entertainment, and music, okay? So that's what I did for this setup account for this session that we're doing right now, okay? That's it. And then it will take you to your new Twitter, okay? So I'm gonna show you what that looks like from this end. All right, so let's go to Twitter. So this is where we were before. So I followed CNN. Lots of CNN. Okay. I followed CNN. I followed national parks. Let me show you a couple of the sort of notable features, of Twitter. Okay. So we got CNN, we got national parks. There's not a lot of diversity on here right now. How do we find out what we want to follow? Okay. There's tons of different ways, but I'm just going to show you a couple. So if you go down to this magnifying glass at the bottom, this is sort of has kind of become the universal symbol for searching for things, right? Okay, so we're going to click on that. And this is what you'll see. Now, this is interesting, and we'll sort of break down what this screen is. So because of the interest that I've told them that I have, it is telling me potential things that I might be interested in. So I had said arts and entertainment. So it's like, oh, do you want to know about the Oscar nominations? Do you want to know about it is asking me about sports and the Olympics and other things like that too. So some of it is super tailored and some of it is, sort of broader news stuff. So let's say, okay, we're interested in the Oscars. All right, let's just say we're interested in the Oscars. Let's click on this Vanity Fair story, okay? So if you click on that, it'll take you to the story that it linked to. So you can go there directly to Vanity Fair. But let's say we're thinking, oh, maybe we want to follow Vanity Fair and see what else they have to talk about. We're going to click on Vanity Fair itself. And once we get here, we're going to click where that icon is, the VF. And look, we can see everything that's in Vanity Fair right now. See the cover, we see lots of stuff about Oscar nominations, stuff about Kate Middleton. We're like, oh, cool, this looks interesting. All right, we're going to click follow. All right, and once we do that, we're going to hit the back button to go back to our page. So those back buttons, and hit home at the bottom. So that little birdhouse at the bottom, that's home. So once we hit home, we'll see that we've got Vanity Fair stories in here as well. Okay, so now we got Vanity Fair, we got CNN, we've got national parks. It's one of those things too that once you get in there, I think you'll and play around with it a little bit, you'll have a sense of who you want to follow, things you want to look at. I'm going to show you how to follow SMART on Twitter first. All right, so SMART, it pops right up because I did this earlier, but everything that you follow will have an @ sign at the beginning of it. So that's like their handle. All right, so SMART is SMARTU.org. Okay, so if you go in there and type @SMARTU.org, it'll come up and you'll see our logo and you'll know that's us. All right, so we're going to click on that and you'll see logo, our graphic there, all the information about SMART, and you'll see if you scroll down, look, the recipe from the culinary class last week. So this is just another way to stay in touch with SMART. Then there's a picture of me that we don't have to linger on too long. And then you see the flyer that Les made for the winter session. So this is like with Facebook and stuff, this is another way for you to know what's going on with SMART and to see sort of upcoming information and stuff like that. SMART will be tweeting this in the same way that we add updated information to Facebook and other social media. Okay, so I'm like, yeah, I want to follow SMART. So what do? I'm going to click on that follow right there. And then this is interesting. So this leads you on sort of a little trail. So this gives you some suggested people to follow based on the fact that we follow SMART. Okay, so let's check this out because we know how SMART has good taste. All right, there's some political stuff. There's eyewitness news. Let's say we want to follow the city of New York. We want to see what the city of New York is tweeting about. All right, this is the official city government page. Okay, so now we're following the city of New York too. The more you pick out things to follow, the more it will tailor what it wants you to see. For us to look up the fund for the city of New York. So that is our umbrella organization. The fund for the city of New York. There it is, fund for the city of New York. All right, so if we click on that, we will see this is the fund's Twitter account. So they have stuff for Martin Luther King Day. They're talking about public service awards. So if we wanted to keep seeing the stuff that they were tweeting, we go up here and follow them. Okay. And then again, it gives us more sort of suggestions for what we might want to follow based on that. Okay. And then if we want to go back to our home page, You can always just hit the home at the bottom and see what's come up. And the thing about this too is that things happen really quickly, especially if you're following a lot of things. Like sometimes you can see like news happening on Twitter before you even see it on TV, or like you'll see political conversations that you don't see happening anywhere else. And like everything, you know, you have to be sort of conscious of what's fact and what's fiction. You need to make sure you're trusting the right sources. But it can be super helpful to see things happening quickly. So let's say, you know, if there is a major political event, or if there is a earthquake, that's something that I've seen happen in real time a couple of times, is that there'll be an earthquake in California, and before the news says anything about it, somebody in California will be tweeting and saying, oh, did you feel that? And that's one of the real sort of strengths of Twitter, is that you can get that information out there really quickly to a wide audience. And then you, as the receiver of that information, can see it really quickly and see what's happening when, you know, other sources may not have caught up yet. Again, be wary of things that seem like they might not be true. Do your research on things. But when used in a good way, Twitter can be really helpful for sort of broadening your understanding of what's going on. One thing that I use Twitter for a lot is to look at political conversations, just because, you know, the sort of nuances or the real specific parts of those things are don't always show up in the news, or you don't always hear about specific conversations that are going on around voting rights, or about like immigration or anything like that. So if you want to look at real specific things, you can go in there and follow people that are doing that work, or you can look up, you know, just the word immigration or the word voting rights, and then sort of see who's talking about it in a way that you want to pay attention to and keep paying attention to.